I arrived just before sunset. I remember that clearly because the light didn't match the time of day. The sun was still visible above the hills, but the town already looked like it had decided the day was over. Shadows sat longer than they should have. The air felt still, like it had stopped moving hours ago. I wasn't supposed to stop there. I had been driving for most of the afternoon, following the highway toward the city. The plan was simple: get there before dark, find a place to sleep, and continue in the morning. But about 40 minutes earlier, traffic slowed to a stop. Electronic signs flashed a message about a road closure ahead. No explanation, just arrows pointing toward a detour. The GPS rerouted me automatically. At first, the road was fine. 2 lanes, fresh paint, a few cars ahead of me. Then, gradually, the traffic thinned out. 1 car turned off, then another. Eventually, it was just me, driving through low hills with trees pressed close on both sides. That was when the town appeared. There was no warning, no sign announcing it, no welcome board. Just a cluster of buildings sitting beside the road, like they had been placed there deliberately and then forgotten. I slowed down without realizing it. The first thing I noticed was how clean everything looked. Not freshly cleaned, just maintained. Sidewalks without cracks, painted fences without peeling, no trash on the road, no overgrown grass. The second thing I noticed was the silence. No distant engines, no dogs barking, no music coming from inside buildings. The town wasn't dead. It was simply quiet. I parked near what looked like the center. A diner stood on one corner, lights glowing warmly inside. Across from it, a post office. Next to that, a hardware store, with its door open and a man standing just inside, counting cash. There were people outside. A woman watered flowers in front of her house. 2 teenagers sat on a bench near the diner, elbows on their knees, looking down the road. An older man swept his porch slowly, methodically, as if he had nowhere else to be. When they noticed me, they smiled. All of them. The smiles weren't friendly exactly. They weren't unfriendly either. They were neutral, held a second too long, like something practiced. I grabbed my jacket and stepped out of the car. The air felt heavier than it should have, like humidity without the heat. I nodded politely as I walked past the bench. The teenagers nodded back. They didn't speak. I went into the diner. A small bell rang when I opened the door. Inside, the lights were bright but soft, casting long shadows beneath the tables. 3 booths were occupied. Each person sat alone. None of them were eating. A woman stood behind the counter. She looked up and smiled. "Evening," she said. Her voice was calm, flat in a way that wasn't unfriendly, just controlled.
I ordered a coffee. She poured it carefully, watching the cup the entire time, as if spilling even a drop would be a problem. When she slid it toward me, her hands were steady. The coffee tasted normal, hot, bitter, real. That helped me relax more than it should have. I asked if there was somewhere nearby I could stay for the night, a motel, a room, anything. She nodded immediately, like she had been expecting the question. "2 streets down," she said. "You'll see it." I thanked her, took another sip. Then, without thinking, I asked the question, "What's this town called?" The coffee pot stopped mid-pour. No one turned to look at me. Instead, the room seemed to pause. The woman's smile didn't fade, but her eyes shifted slightly toward the front window. "We don't really use the name anymore," she said. Her tone didn't change. That made it worse. "Oh," I replied, trying to sound casual. "Why not?" She set the pot down gently, aligning it with the edge of the counter. "You should check in before it gets dark," she said. I waited. The man in the booth closest to me cleared his throat. Another stared down at his hands. No one added anything. I finished my coffee in silence and paid. The woman thanked me like nothing strange had happened. When I stepped back outside, the street was empty. Not abandoned, just empty. Every door was closed, every curtain fully drawn. The same building stood there, unchanged, but the people were gone. I checked my phone. Still had signal. Still early. The sun hadn't set yet. I stood there longer than I should have, listening. Nothing moved. Nothing made a sound. Eventually, I walked toward the place the woman had mentioned. 2 streets down, a building stood with lights on and a single desk visible through the window. No sign, no name, just a door that opened when I tried it. A man sat behind the desk. He looked up when I entered, already reaching for a key. "Evening," he said. He didn't ask for my ID, didn't ask where I was coming from or how long I planned to stay. He slid the key toward me and said, "Breakfast ends early." I asked what time. He paused, just for a moment. "Before you wake up," he said. I laughed, expecting him to smile. He didn't. That night, as I lay on the bed with the lights off, I watched the street through the window. At exactly the same moment, every light in town went out, all at once.
I woke up before the alarm. That wasn't unusual. What was unusual was how quiet everything felt. Not the normal quiet of early morning, but something deeper. No pipes rattling, no distant engines, no doors opening. It felt like the town was holding its breath. I checked the clock. 6:02 a.m. The street outside my window was empty. Streetlights were still on, casting pale yellow circles onto the pavement. Every house looked the same as it had the night before. Curtains drawn, doors closed. Nothing moved. I showered, dressed, and went outside. The moment I stepped onto the sidewalk, the town came back to life. Lights flicked on behind windows, doors opened. Somewhere a radio started playing softly. The suddenness of it made me stop walking. It was like everything had been waiting for me to look away. I went back to the diner. The bell rang again when I opened the door. Inside, the same 3 people sat in the same booths, same positions, same posture. None of them were eating. The woman behind the counter smiled at me. "Morning," she said. She poured coffee before I asked. I decided not to bring up the name of the town again. Instead, I asked if there was a gas station nearby. "Yes," she replied. "Is it open?" I asked. She nodded. "But you won't need it." I hadn't said I was leaving. I took a sip of coffee and felt that familiar tension return, tightening behind my eyes. As I paid, I noticed a small sign taped near the register. "Closed after dark." No hours listed, just that. I spent the morning walking. Every street curved gently inward. Even the ones that looked straight eventually bent back toward the center. I tried counting intersections, but I kept losing track. After 20 minutes, I found myself back near the diner again. There were more signs, on shop doors, on fences, on poles. Local business only. No visitors past this point. Do not wait outside after sunset. No explanations, no logos, all written in the same plain lettering. I asked a man sweeping his porch what time the bus came through town. He didn't stop sweeping. "There is no bus," he said. "How do people leave?" I asked. The broom paused. He looked up at me for the first time. "You're asking the wrong kind of questions," he said. Then he went back to sweeping. That afternoon, a siren sounded. It wasn't loud, it wasn't urgent, just a single steady tone that hung in the air. Everyone stopped what they were doing. Then, calmly, they went inside. Doors closed, curtains drew shut. I stood alone in the street. That was when I realized something. Nobody here was afraid. They were prepared. I decided to leave after dark. I didn't know why I chose that time. Maybe it was because I didn't want anyone watching, or maybe because staying another night felt worse than leaving. I packed quietly. When I stepped outside, the streetlights were already on. The town looked exactly the same as it had the night before. Empty. Waiting. My car started immediately. The engine sounded too loud in the silence. I drove slowly toward the edge of town, following the same road I had arrived on. The first sign I passed had no distance listed, just an arrow. The second sign pointed the same way. The third pointed back. I drove anyway. The diner appeared on my left, then again. The third time, I stopped the car. The teenagers were back on the bench. They hadn't been there earlier. I rolled down the window. "I'm leaving," I said. One of them stood up. "You already are," he said. The road stretched forward again after that. The faded sign appeared in my headlights. As I passed it, my phone buzzed. Signal returned. The air felt lighter. I didn't look back. I drove for hours before stopping. When I checked the map, the town wasn't there. No name, no road, no marker. Weeks later, I still think about it. About the rules, about the smiles, about the question I shouldn't have asked. Sometimes, late at night, my phone lights up. No notification, no message, just silence.